It was Christmas Eve, and the long-haired man's wife had a special wish: to get a brush to comb her hair. She told her husband what she wanted, hoping for a loving gesture to match the magical atmosphere of the season. However, her husband responded in a somewhat discouraged manner, explaining that they couldn't spend too much because he was saving up to repair his broken watch, which was very important to him. Nevertheless, the man decided to make a big effort to make his wife's wish come true. He went to work thinking of a daring idea: sell his beloved watch to buy the brush she wanted so much. So, at the watch store, he exchanged the watch for cash, eager to see her smile when she received the gift. At the end of the day, with the brush in hand, he returned home full of hope of making his wife happy. But when he opened the door, he found a surprising scene. His wife, with her hair now cut short, was holding a new watch. The moment was full of emotion and silence. He had given up the watch he loved so much, and she had cut her hair. Tears began to fall, showing the deep love that existed between them. They realized that they had sacrificed something they loved to make each other happy. Crying together, they exchanged words of love, creating a sincere melody. Their mutual sacrifice became the greatest proof of love they could give each other. In the simplicity of this gesture, they discovered the true meaning of love: giving up something special to bring joy to those we love. Within Stoicism, many people have the misconception that this philosophy doesn't care about emotions, appearing cold and with no room for love or friendships. But this idea is completely wrong. The Stoics actually valued human relationships very highly, as is clear from an action by Marcus Aurelius. During the Antonine Plague, he decided to sell all his gold possessions to raise money and help those affected by the disease. This showed that he didn't want to worry about personal luxury while other people were suffering. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, says, "Be tolerant of others and strict with yourself." He understood that self-discipline wasn't just a nice name. It meant having internal control, setting limits for yourself, and following your own rules. However, it's important to know that for the Stoics, philosophy didn't mean withdrawing from the world or other people. In fact, they thought that life was very much about relationships. For them, Stoic philosophy was about the connections we have with other people. Many of Marcus Aurelius' thoughts in his Meditations talk not only about the frustrations that arise in interactions with others, but also about love, affection, and the important connections with those around us. This is what defines Stoic philosophy: dealing with the joys and challenges of our relationships with others and embracing the complexities of the human experience. Number 1. Avoid false friendships. At an important point in the Meditations, Marcus Aurelius tells us a valuable lesson he learned from his experiences. Avoid false friendships at all costs. Nothing hurts more, nothing is worse. He learned this through his own experiences, especially after being betrayed by Ovidius Cassius, his most trusted general and one of his best friends. Cassius treacherously tried to seize power for himself and declare himself emperor. The story of Marcus Aurelius is a stark reminder that even though we want to believe only the best in people and trust them, sometimes even those closest to us can act wrongly or even with bad intentions. This lesson shows us how important it is to build relationships based on trust, but also to be careful and discerning, being ready to face challenges. Showing emotional strength and learning from experiences is essential for maintaining important and lasting friendships. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that even with the complexities of human relationships, we must develop the ability to overcome difficulties and learn from life's lessons. This helps us to maintain true and strong friendships over time. So the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius not only reminds us of the importance of trusting relationships, but also of being attentive and wise when forming and maintaining these bonds, creating a solid foundation for lasting friendships. Number 2. Don't take anything for granted. Many years ago, I experienced a moment that became very important to me. It was a Friday afternoon or early evening when I received an email from a friend. When I opened the message, I realized that there were several issues to resolve. At that moment, I decided to mark the email as unread and said to myself, "I'll sort this out on Monday." However, to my great sadness, the following Sunday I learned that my friend had died while hiking. This difficult experience confronted me with what the Stoics call the memento mori, a constant reminder that life is fleeting. Marcus Aurelius, an important leader of the ancient Roman Empire, spoke about this in his meditations. He mentioned the practice of embracing your child at night and recognizing that this gesture may not happen again the next morning. What he meant by this was that we should realize the fragility of moments that pass quickly. He wasn't suggesting that we should withdraw emotionally, but rather connect more deeply with the people around us. Aurelius warns us not to take anything for granted, not the people we love, not the places we go. Every encounter, every moment we share, could be our last. Thinking about the impermanence of life is not meant to make us feel distant, but to help us appreciate more what really matters. By reflecting on the brevity of life, we are encouraged to appreciate each present moment, show gratitude, and strengthen the bonds with those we love. Thus, thinking about the possibility of loss is not something sad, but a powerful way of celebrating and making the most of life here and now. Number 3. Be tolerant of others. Marcus Aurelius is known for being very strict with himself and for always seeking self-discipline. In his meditations, he shows us various rules and principles that seem difficult to follow and almost impossible to achieve. The most interesting thing is that, according to historians, Marcus applies these demands only to himself. He does this on purpose and says, "Be tolerant of others, but strict with yourself." For him, self-discipline means having control over yourself and imposing strict rules to guide your own behavior. It's interesting to see how Marcus Aurelius understands the importance of balancing self-discipline with empathy and understanding for others. He knows that self-discipline is not a word chosen by chance. It's about setting and following personal rules in a serious way. However, he also points out that we must be understanding and tolerant of other people's mistakes. In one part of his meditations, he even criticizes himself for not forgiving other people's mistakes more easily. This shows that practicing self-discipline shouldn't make us rigid, but should help us improve as people and understand others better. This balance between self-discipline and compassion is an important lesson that Marcus Aurelius teaches us. He reminds us that the path to self-knowledge and personal improvement should not make us inflexible, but rather help us to better understand ourselves and others. This helps us build stronger relationships and a more harmonious coexistence. If you're struggling to live together harmoniously, I've left a link in the first comment to help you live a lighter life and take control of it. Click on the first comment and check it out now. Number 4. Remember that we are connected. Marcus Aurelius asks us to always think about how everything in the world is connected. He suggests that, for example, we look up at the stars at night and imagine that we are running alongside them, feeling part of the vast universe. This practice helps us to see how big and incredible the universe is and reminds us that we are part of something much bigger. When I watch a sunset, observe the people around me, or enjoy a beautiful landscape, I try to imagine humanity as a huge group. In this exercise, I think about the people who lived before us, those who live now, and those who are yet to come. This broader vision helps me understand that we are all connected in some way. We can be compared to cells in a large organism, each with a special role, but all connected in an important way. This idea that we are all connected is not just about observing nature or the world around us. It reminds us of the responsibility we have towards each other and the planet we share. By realizing that we are part of something bigger, we are encouraged to act with kindness, to try to understand others, and to take care of the environment. Marcus Aurelius' vision, therefore, not only invites us to admire the size of the universe, but also encourages us to understand our connection and take care of the world to make it a more harmonious place. Number 5. Caring about others. The Stoics believed strongly in the idea of sympathy, which is like a collective we. Marcus Aurelius, an important leader in the great Roman Empire, often talked about the idea that the good of all is important. Even though he was Roman, he believed that all human beings are connected, forming a large network of relationships. In an important part of his writings, Marcus Aurelius uses a simple example to show this connection. He says, "What harms the hive harms the bee. What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee. And what's bad for the bee is bad for the hive." By this, he means that the well-being of each person is linked to the well-being of all. And the reverse is also true. At a time when cruelty and indifference were commonplace, Marcus Aurelius stressed the importance of caring about everyone, even those we will never meet in person. He said that Stoicism didn't make people insensitive, but actually helps them to develop a deep care and empathy for more people. The idea of sympathy reminds us that we are all part of a great global community, sharing not only the same planet, but also responsibilities to make the world kinder and more caring. So Marcus Aurelius' main message is that our actions and attitudes affect not only ourselves, but also the entire global community. When we understand this, we are motivated to act more consciously, helping to create a more harmonious and supportive environment for everyone. Number 6, you can't tell people what to do. A great lesson to learn when running a company is that even if you're the boss, you don't have total control over others. You can't make someone do something if they don't want to. I talked to experienced leaders, such as experts, generals, and coaches, and they all said, "No, you can't make people do anything. Life doesn't work like that." This reminds me of what Eisenhower said. Leadership is the art of getting people to do things because they think they want to do them. Forcing people is not an option. So the important lesson that the Stoics teach us about what we can control is very useful for anyone leading a company. We can control ourselves, our actions, and decisions. We can control the rules we set, our principles, and the company culture. But in the end, we can't force anyone to do anything. We can try to lead by example, convince, and create a good culture. But if people don't agree, there's no point in using force. It's not just about offering rewards. It's important to recognize when something isn't working for someone and try to find a solution that suits them better. You have to look for something that motivates the person to carry out the necessary tasks. So the main lesson is that, at the end of the day, you can't tell people what to do. That's a myth. We can try to convince them, but according to the Stoics, the only real control we have is over our own actions, decisions, and emotions. And really, that's enough to deal with. Number 7. Choose your relationships. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing the people around you showing the values you admire, as Marcus Aurelius teaches us. This demonstration is not just limited to heroes or great statues, but also involves your friends, who play a very important role. Thinking about who your friends are and how they influence your life is very valuable. Just as we draw inspiration from famous people, close friends and family also have a big impact on our lives. This is in line with Goethe's idea, who reminds us that choosing well who we spend our time with shapes who we become. Our friends and family are like mirrors that show and help shape our attitudes, behaviors, and values. If we cultivate friendships based on respect, empathy, and honesty, we create an environment that favors our growth and helps us to pursue good things. By having relationships that follow these principles, we form a social group that supports us and also encourages us to improve. Seeing people around us showing qualities such as courage, kindness, and persistence is like having a guide to help us make good choices and seek out the best in ourselves. In this way, friendships and relationships not only reflect what we value, but also inspire us on our own journey. Number 8. Be prepared. Marcus Aurelius, as he begins his meditations, warns us about the variety of people we will meet every day: envious, foolish, dishonest, cruel, and evil people. He doesn't talk about this to discourage us, but so that we can be ready and think about it. Stoicism suggests that if we are surprised by people's behavior and by what happens in life, it is because we are not prepared. Not being prepared and not reflecting on these things shows a certain naivety. Stoic philosophy encourages us to anticipate problems, take a realistic view, and always be on our guard. By adopting this mindset, we are better able to deal with the difficulties of everyday life. This preparation is not only to protect us from possible disappointments, but also to allow us to see and enjoy good surprises. When we understand that people can exceed our expectations, we develop a more balanced view of the world around us. Having this proactive attitude not only helps us to cope with problems, but also to better appreciate the different facets of life. Being prepared to deal with different types of people and situations helps to reduce negative impacts and allows us to recognize the qualities and good things in people. Thus, by adopting a Stoic outlook, we not only avoid disappointment, but also learn to value the richness and complexity of human experiences.